for Lord's sake, put that book away and go help. Oh, Mary Beth.
So, we getting out of this hellhole?
We're gonna try. Weather seems stable.
And we just robbed a Leviticus Cornwall train.
We got money in our pockets. The worst is behind us, gentlemen. So the question is, where now?
I know this country a little. I told you, we should set up camp in Horseshoe Overlook near Valentine. We'll be able to hide out there, no problem, as long as we keep our noses clean.
Well, then let's go. Clean noses and everything else. Arthur, you're in that one. Bring Hosea. I know you two like to talk about the good old days and what's gone wrong with old Dutch.
Up and go do your job.
Lenny! Micah, get over here!
Yes, boss.
You two ride up ahead, make sure there's no surprises. We've had enough of those.
Me with the boy?
Just go.
Come on, kid. You can buy me a whiskey.
Get us out the stream. Gotta keep us moving, but calm.
Ah, shit!
Okay, let's take a look.
You all right back there?
Does everything look all right?
Well, what's going on?
Ah, I broke the goddamn wheel.
All right, let's get it fixed.
You need help?
I reckon we can handle it. All right, Charles, you and me hold the thing up while you try and put the wheel back on, Arthur.
You still strong enough to hold up a wagon?
Shut up.
I'm just saying.
Well, say less. Pick the wheel up. Nearly there. There.
See? You ain't so useless after all.
Not quite.
What do you think?
If they wanted trouble, we wouldn't have seen them.
Poor bastards. We really screwed them over down here. Come on, let's not push our luck.
What happened?
Well, get in. I'll tell you. Not too far now. Stay on this trail. We'll follow the river, then cut left inland. So, yes, the Indians in these parts got sold a very raw deal. This is the heartlands we're going to. Good farming and grazing country, they lost it all. Stolen clean away from them it was, every blade of grass. Killed or herded up to the reservations in the middle of nowhere.
And how's that different from anywhere else?
Well, maybe it's not. I just heard some of the army out here was particularly unpleasant about it.
Unpleasant? How do you rob and kill people pleasantly? We don't, in spite of Dutch's talk.
I fear I was perhaps trying to simplify something more complicated for the benefit of our block-headed driver here.
Hey, don't blame it on me. Never forget, this here's a con man, Charles, born and bred. Just 'cause it sounds fancy don't mean he knows a damn thing about what he's talking about. So, what happened to your tribe?
I don't even know if I have one. At least, not that I can remember. My father was a colored man. He told me he lived with our people for a while. A number of free men did, but when we were forced to move from our lands, the three of us fled. I was too young to really remember much. My whole life I've been on the run. A couple years later, some soldiers captured my mother. Took her somewhere. We never saw her again. We drifted around. He was a very sad man, and the drink had a mean hold on him. Around 13, I just took off on my own.
That was about the age we found young Arthur here. Maybe a little older. A wilder delinquent you never did see. But he learned fast.
Not as fast as Marston, apparently.
Wait, I don't understand. What's the problem between you two?
Arthur?
It's a long story. We still heading the right way?
That depends. Are we still heading west in search of fortune and repose in virgin forests as we planned? No. Are we heading in the correct direction on our desperate escape from the law eastwards down the mountains? Yes, I believe so.
You know this area?
A little. I've been through a couple of times. There's a livestock town not too far from here called Valentine. Cowboys, outlaws, working girls, our kind of place.
Driscoll's?
Probably them too.
Pinkertons?
Let's hope not.
And this place we're going. Wait, what's it called again?
Horseshoe Overlook.
It's a good place to lie low?
It'll do for now. And how low do you think Dutch is really going to lie? It's just, you know, maybe it's me who's changed, not him, but we kept telling him that ferry job didn't feel right. You and me had a real lead in Blackwater that could have worked out.
Maybe.
It just isn't like Dutch to lose his head like that.
Things go wrong sometimes. People die. It's the way it is. Always has been. Me, you, Dutch. We've all been in this line of work a long time. And we're still here, so I figure we must have got it right a hell of a lot more than we got it wrong. What are you working on there, anyway?
Just some yarrow and ginseng. Good for the health. Better than that stuff you buy in the store. Yeah, you can have all this. I'm at the point where I can do it with my eyes closed.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah.
So we got some herbs. That's really nice. That's really nice. That's one of the other things in the compendium. I can never say that right. But, that we will have to collect. I will read the entries later. Compendium. They won't be added to the journal yet until we pick them. So we have some time before they're actually added to the journal. God, there's so many moments on this mission specifically that I just am like, wow, they really got the graphics right.
There you are, brother. Head in there. Follow the track for a bit.
Thanks.
Hey, slow up. I'll jump on. Okay, let's go.
Any trouble getting in here, Javier?
Nope. It went well. This is a good spot.
Excellent. I think this'll work for us, Arthur. For now, anyway. gentlemen. Home sweet home.
You weren't wrong, Hosea. This place is perfect.
I hope so.
Gentlemen, we have survived.
For now.
Now, it is time to prosper.
Arthur and I were about to prosper in Blackwater. We were onto something big. Then Micah got you all excited about that ferry, and here we are.
We have all made mistakes over the years, Hosea. Every last one of us. But I kept us together. Kept us alive. Kept the nooses off our neck.
I guess I'm just worried. I ain't got that long, Dutch. I want folks safe before I go.
Me too.
And now we are stuck, east of the Grizzlies and out of money, and a long way from our dream of virgin land in the west.
I know, my brother, but we are safe. We make a bit of money here, then we move again, head out around them, be west of Uncle Sam, in a few months, buy some land.
I hope so.
Would you just look around you? This world has its consolations.
Gentlemen, I'm going to head into the local town and, see if I can strike up a little business.
Of course, Herr Strauss. I prefer robbing banks to usury. Seems more dignified somehow. Now, everyone, put your tools down for a moment. Come on, gather round. Quickly now. I know that things have been tough, but we are safe now, and we are far too poor. So it is time for everyone to get to work.
Get to work, but stay out of trouble. Remember, we are itinerant workers.
Laid off when they shut down our factory to the north. Now get out there and see what you can find. Uncle, Reverend Swanson, no more passengers. It is time for everyone to earn their keep.
There is a town a little way down the track named Valentine. Livestock town, all mud and morons, if I remember right. That seems a decent place to start.
And, we need food. Real food. That means every day. One of you.
And remember, whatever it is that you find, the camp gets its slice. Now be sensible out there.
Now, the girls have your tent ready, Mr. Morgan. Come with me. You two will be ready shortly. We put you over here.
I'm sure everything will be fine, Miss Grimshaw.
It should be. Most of your stuff from Blackwater got saved.
Everything apart from my money.
Oh, don't remind me.
Well, we can always make more money.
We're gonna have to. Miss Jackson, I've seen shit with more common sense than you. Do it properly.
Got off the mountain and rode east into some pretty enough country called the Heartlands. Ain't been this far east in many a year. Dutch seems a little better. His eyes are sparkling once more, and I can see he's thinking a little clearer. I think we all feel a little happier, in spite of Blackwater and that whole mess.
Arthur?
Jose?
Quite a day.
Let's hope so.
There's a bunch of the boys already in Valentine. Bill, Charles, and Javier. And Swanson found something down at the train station by the lake, apparently. And Strauss came back with that creepy little smile on his face. I'm sure there's a whole list of unfortunates he's forced money upon.
Thank you. And you?
I'm gonna read a book.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we're gonna start getting into the real meat of the game.
My boy, my dear boy.
What's going on?
Nothing. Nothing at all. For the first time in weeks. Nothing. We're free. We're free to plan our own futures once more.
I hope so, Dutch.
You kept the faith, Arthur. You always kept it.
And I ain't losing it now.
Good morning, Arthur.
I've met some of your boys before.
Oh, yeah?
You must be hungry.
Like you wouldn't believe.
Well, I'll leave this here then. In the dirt. Where those other O'Driscolls left my husband.
Don't kill that O'Driscoll boy just yet. We need to get something out of him first.
I ain't promising nothing.
What do you think of your new home?
Let me go now, please.
All right. We are now in the real meat of the game, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the point where we start kind of doing what we want to do, kind of helping add towards
Good morning.
our completionist stuff, really. We get a lot more freedom and all that kind of fun stuff. We're going to spend a little bit of time going through camp, talking to people, and kind of like reading some different letters, some different documents to kind of get those out of the way and done with since we have the chance to get them now. So we're going to be doing a lot of exploring, mostly at camp. We're going to be here for a little bit. But I'm real excited to finally get out of Chapter 1. I have had to re-record Chapter 1 like 3 times, dude. When I tell you that it has been tedious trying to get everything to work, I am not joking. I've been having a lot of trouble lately. I think it's just bad luck. But I am happy to finally be here. Now let's talk to Dutch.
Arthur, how's the cigar?
Not bad. But sometimes I prefer a pipe. I've been meaning to get one for ages. I left the old one in
Blackwater, I know. Well, if I find one, you can have it.
Well, you are a gentleman, Mr. Morgan. I raised you well.
Don't take too much pride in your work.
Little glitch I noticed. If you don't get that right away when you first wake up, it's very possible he will glitch out of it and never offer it to you, especially if you pick up other companion activities. So I highly recommend getting that one first, because getting his companion quest done is actually very easy compared to the other ones.
Good morning, Arthur.
So I recommend trying to get that one as soon as you can, just because of that. One reason we're gonna spend a lot of time at the camp right now is because we're gonna kind of eavesdrop on different conversations while we can get them. I don't know if they only ever happen one time. I've seen some repeat, but I'm gonna try to get them when they happen so we can get as much of the world as we can. And you know, I'll cut around to when we eventually find them as well, and we'll get them randomly throughout the day as we come back and forth from camp all the time. It just is what it is.
Hey, Cat.
I'm glad you boys made it back all right. We was worried.
Yeah, hopefully we could get out of this hellhole soon.
I think that's from Chapter 1.
Okay, I'll catch you later then.
All right.
All right, Mary Beth?
I'm bored out of my mind. Been cooped up for days.
Well, bored is better than freezing. All right, well, I should be getting on.
Sure.
We're actually gonna spend this time, first thing we're gonna do is not only get that companion activity, there's a lot of different things to read while we're here, for sure, especially in Arthur's tent. Oh, and as you can see, we could actually shave if we wanted to, but we're actually gonna hold off on doing that just yet. I want to wait till we get access to a barber and to a certain point in the chapter.
Few bits and pieces. Robbed the drunk who wanted to fight.
Arthur never said he'd been robbed.
No, not Arthur. Also, A couple of morons threatened to lynch me. So, I ran away, came back, robbed them.
Good lad.
How about you?
A few bits and pieces. Nothing that exciting. Not yet, at least.
You were right about this place. It's a good spot.
You'll do for now.
For sure. Did you and Micah see anything when you rode ahead?
Nothing we need to worry about.
Okay, good.
I'm always around. If you need someone.
Got you there, tough guy.
Just name the place, my friend. Just name the place.
Yeah, Micah, you piece of shit. We don't like Micah. Me and the homies hate Micah.
You're all talk.
You keep thinking that.
I will.
I know your type.
God, I hate Micah. We all hate Micah. Let's go see how John's doing.
How you feel? Stronger for sure. But not strong enough to work.
Yeah, punk. Just kidding. We love John, too. You'll probably notice on my holster a gold gun. That is because I did a special mission in GTA Online that will unlock that immediately as you get to this chapter in the game. It basically gives you a free double-action revolver, and it gives you gold-plated. It's supposed to resemble the gun you get in GTA Online, so I recommend looking that up. I think it's the Navy Revolver mission in GTA Online, and if you do that, you'll unlock it online here and in the story as well. So I would recommend looking into that, because you can get a free double-action revolver. You don't have to pay for it or find it out there. It's pretty sweet.
How are you holding up?
Not very well.
Well, I'm sorry. It will get better eventually.
It ain't good, but if we keep hidden, it'll pass. Still a big country. Don't feel quite so big no more. That's the modern world. I think I like the old ways better. Me too.
Don't really feel like we are hidden.
This is as hidden as we're gonna get. Unless you want to live in a cave.
I do not want to live in a cave.
We might be less doomed if you pitched in and did some work.
Christ, Arthur. I nearly died.
Oh, don't worry. I know.
You nearly died weeks ago. Come on, help out.
Well, let's talk more later.
All right, then.
Okay, I think now is the time that we do some chores. We'll get some good honor, and then also help increase our Deadeye. You can do that. If you do some chores, yes, they're tedious and they're small, but they will help increase your Deadeye as well. So they are beneficial, and you know, it makes you feel like you're a part of the camp. I do not have a specific outfit to do camp activities because they are a bit on the fly with the playthrough. I'll end up doing them a lot, but I won't show them every time I do them. I don't know. It just makes me feel like I'm helping the camp. Just chopping firewood, you know, like a good member of the gang would do, instead of robbing and killing. Who does that? Yup. I don't know what the fuck that sound was. Okay, looks like I think we got one more. One more. They better be recognized by the gang. I'm helping out around here. Alright, now we gotta go get the water bucket, the hay barrels, and I think they're grains? I'm really not sure what they use them for. We're probably not going to add to the tithing box just yet. We're probably going to do a couple things, like a couple missions before we do that, because we actually don't have access to camp upgrades just yet. Once we get access to that is when we'll really start adding to the box and doing stuff for the camp, crafting things and stuff like that, because that's when we're going to see the real benefit of adding to the camp.
You're Arthur, right?
My name ain't no concern of yours.
I'm hungry.
I don't give a damn.
Look, you seem like a decent feller behind it all.
Then you ain't a good judge of character.
Yeah, well, we'll leave it there then.
Hold your horses.
Is anybody getting me some?
Yeah, I think the most important... There's two camp activities that are the most important. Like, oh, that's not what I wanted to pick up. Yeah, that's fine, though. That's fine. There's two companion quests, like getting items for them, that's important to look out for right at the beginning when you can. Because Dutch's, I've experienced a glitch where I missed it. And one for Pearson. He has two. One for Pearson. If you get his other one, you'll be kind of locked out of getting the other one. In fact, if you kind of leave Chapter 2, you'll be kind of locked out of getting a specific and rare piece of equipment that you can't... Not equipment, clothing you cannot get anywhere else. So you kind of have to try to get it if you want it. If you don't care that much, like, it's not needed for 100%. In fact, I don't think any companion activities are needed for 100%. I think you could go without them and be fine to get 100% officially by the game standards, but that's not what we're doing here. We're going to do them all. That is the plan. You have to actually attempt at it, which if we miss it somehow, if it glitches out, I'll have to backtrack and try to get it again. It's just one of those things. It's really annoying, but it's a part of the experience for me. And to get that rare piece of clothing is worth it in the end for me as well. I don't think we can get it now. I think we can get it after a mission or two. So, or else I'd be attempting to get it now while we had the chance. Dutch's will glitch out and Pearson's will glitch out. There's a whole lot of speculation about Pearson's, and we'll get to that when we are actually trying to get it. But it is one of those things that just be on the lookout for. I do plan on wearing his outfit for stuff, even though the outfit, the piece of clothing itself is glitched. I don't know if they actually fix that. They don't actually update a whole lot in the story, from my understanding. They just add updates online that doesn't really have anything anyway. But that's a whole other debate about opinion. I haven't played online since its actual release. I've been mostly single player, and I would only get online once or twice to just lasso my friends and drag them by horse, you know. That's the fun part about online, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I don't know a whole lot of online, but I know they don't update a lot of problems in the story unless they're major, and this is like one of those small things where you're not gonna notice it unless you're looking for it.
Thanks. I asked Bill to do that, but of course he did.
Of course he did. I love how the gang members comment on your stuff.
Their tummies were growling earlier. Y'all ride the hell out of them horses.
See, Deadeye, we're already leveled up. We're gonna level up Deadeye and Stamina probably very, very, very quickly. It's just one of those things. Alright, now that we got that done, we're gonna end up doing a lot of reading. So first things first. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's see. Okay, looks like we got some journal entries. Coulter, riding out. So this is us going and taking on the gang. Ridge. Leviticus Cornwall. Seems Cole Driscoll had the same idea as us. He's been hiding up here, scouting out a train he wanted to rob. We bumped into some of his boys at some farmstead they was robbing. Found that poor woman whose husband they had murdered, and she's now riding with us as if she's got no as she ain't got no place to say. I should stop trying to read like Arthur. I am not his voice actor. Then Dutch being Dutch and his hatred for Colm being just as powerful as it ever was, and I continue to do it, whole bunch of us went to pay him a visit in his camp, but he escaped. We grabbed one of his boys. Poor bastard ain't even spoken yet, but he will once we freeze him a little, then set Bill on him. Been a bad few weeks, but we're mostly still alive. Dutch being Dutch is busy making plans and figuring out just how we're going to survive. And Dutch being Dutch, those plans involve robbery and dreams. There's a deer that we caught. Again, it's so annoying how it takes up literally only the quarter of the page. But whatever. Horseshoe Overlook. Dude, man, he's detailed. He's probably spent the whole day drawing this thing. And this is the view from his bed. Horseshoe Overlook. Finally, a thaw in this god-awful weather. We got off the mountains and rose east in some pretty enough country called the Heartlands. Ain't been this far east in many a year. Hosea seems to know the country a little. Ain't been much of a spraying. Now holed up up at a place called Horseshoe Overlook, outside some dumpy little cattle town named Valentine. Dutch seems a little better. His eyes are sparkling once more, and I can't see he's thinking a little clearer. I think we all feel a little happier in spite of Blackwater and that whole mess. That's the last page we got of the journal so far. And yes, a good example of what I'm talking about with the journal is actually this last page here. Before we start the next mission, I will have a way of filling out these pages. Sometimes the mission doesn't actually give us any pages. Sometimes it does. I actually have everything researched to make sure I know what does and what doesn't. So we're going to be able to fill this side before we start the next mission. And I know what pages only fill up half of a page and some don't. It's actually very specific per entry. So yeah, I went the full mile with this thing, I promise you. Okay, let's see what Arthur has at his tent. Arthur's horseshoe. Cool. Arthur's father, Lyle Morgan, larceny, December 7th, 1874. Arthur's dog, aw. Too bad we couldn't have the dog with us. Hosea, Dutch, and Arthur. Man, look at Arthur. What a handsome, clean-shaven young man. And neither of them have any... Well, I guess Hosea doesn't have any facial hair still. But Dutch, plain-faced, I don't like it. He needs his iconic mustache. First bank robbery newspaper scrap. April 15th, 1887. Brazen bank robbery. 3 men sought. Major T.J. Belford has been a cashier at the banking house at Lee and Holt for a number of years, but nothing prepared him for what transpired. Sorry, what transpired last week? It was about 2 o'clock. 3 men, strangers to me, came through the door and walked up to the counter. One of them, the eldest of the 3, was a fine talker and engaged me in conversation. Suddenly, the largest, a big, sullen young man, brandished a firearm and held it to my face. "Throw up your hands," the third one said, who appeared to be the boss. The other 2 repeated the order with an oath, and the leader said, "My fine patriotic friends and I are going to relieve you of the gold and introduce a few folks to the benefits of civilization." Sorry, that was my Dutch impersonation, very bad. They came around the counter and grabbed some sacks which contained $5,000 in gold. They demanded to know where the rest of the money was, and I pointed out 3 sacks containing silver, but it was too bulky for them. They retreated, and one warned against sounding an alarm. I was never so terrified in my life, Mr. Belford told a reporter. The robbers have reported to have lingered in town, and there are unproven claims that the men traveled to hovels and shanties and even a home for orphans and gave handfuls of the ill-gotten gains to the poor. So this must be the first robbery that Arthur ever did. See, this game's getting to me. I'm starting to talk a bunch. Zoological Compendium by a zoological compendium. Sorry, I cannot say that word. I'm very bad with English sometimes. Even though it's my native language, I'm bad with it. Of Earth's creatures. J.D. Goddard. And moose are difficult to run down in such instances, furnishing poor sport. Look not only down, but up when tracking moose, for they break twigs, bend branches, and tear up the ground up quite significantly. The badger. Many a man who nearly broke his neck or leg has cursed this animal, for it's in its pursuit of prey. It takes to digging holes. These quickly are covered by leaves or weeds, and along comes a rider into a death trap. I have been thrown from my horse on several occasions as it stepped into a badger hole. I got up, covered in dust, cursed to the heavens, and took to killing every one of them I could find within miles, wiping out an entire species of which I feel only lingering regret. At times, nature should be left to its own devices, but up until the point where it inconveniences me, then it should be eradicated. When approaching its hole, this idiotic creature will pop its head out to see what is coming. Place a shot between the eyes, take the fur, and throw the rest in the stew pot. The skunk. Those who raise game birds or chickens are likely to hate the skunk for marauding about hen houses, but farmer and forester alike should leave these beasts alone. Many take to shooting skunks for sport. However, they eat quite a large amount of insect larvae, which helps crops and prevents infestation of moths and caterpillars. When you upset the balance of nature, man must pay for his pocketbook for artificial substance to rid of infestations when you could have left well enough alone. A note on animals, water, and debilitation. Serious sickness often take a household when foul water is drunk. This can debilitate a man from hunting or farming, and instead he is resigned to the outhouse while his spouse looks on in mournful derision and pity, as he neither pleases her in the bedroom nor provides ingredients for her bread for the supper table. Creatures are thirsty too and will fall into your well, spreading diseases before it is discovered. Obtain a cask and layer small pebbles, charcoal, and a layer of sand inside. Attach a faucet at the bottom in order to draw off the water. This will provide perfect drinking water, even if it tastes slightly like a dead raccoon. Oh man, this guy is funny. This guy literally got messed up by a badger and took it personally. I always wondered where this flower came from. I don't really know. It's pretty enough, I suppose, though. Almost look like it belongs in the marshlands of some kind. I kind of want to know what the backstory is of it, but we never got it. This photograph. Oh, I missed one over there. Wonder who this is supposed to be. Beatrice Morgan. Spring Rocks, 1870. So it must be Arthur's mother? Maybe sister? Could be. Rambles Through Woods and Plains, a field guide to the Botanical Kingdom. Joseph Parsons. When I immediately stumbled upon an old woman with some grow garlic. No, this is not a bulb of garlic sold by a miserable old crone. Indeed, she had less teeth than fingers and a peculiar distemper for spewing auguries importance. But I purchased a grow garlic from her anyway. It is a lovely perennial that is wild onion rather than garlic, but is deliciously cooked in bread. Knowledge of native medicinal plants and herbs is essential for any frontiersman. Disorders of the blood are frequent, and having a fellow in camp that can exorcise the demon of jaundice using a few hand-picked herbs boiled in a tea is essential. My dear, dear reader, my hope, dear reader, is that you will take the knowledge in this book so that you may identify all plants and herbs and use the awareness for good. It has come to my notice that a few individuals have purchased my book and taken the information therein in order to concoct fermentations. To bring a curtain of oblivion down on the evening, awakening the next day piled on one another like sweaty sacks of potatoes, knowing not what kind of lewd carnal ostentationist took a hold by firelight. The very idea. Let's discuss the fungus that lives among us. I'm gonna massacre these words. Marcolepiota pokera. This is commonly known as the parasol mushroom. In some regions, it is called the snake's hat. Snakes, of course, do not wear hats. They do, however, talk on occasion. The parasol mushroom is delicious to cook, but should not be eaten raw, as there are toxins that will give you a very unfavorable view of the world, and your gastrointestinal distress will surely be remarked upon. Malaria badaya. This mushroom is known as the bay boleta. These are quite common and can be found in large numbers. These are lovely to cook with garlic and give a distinctive taste of rotted wood that pairs well with a merlot. Merlot or merlot? Do not be worried about the bluish marks that can occur on the underside. Like humans, these mushrooms bruise. Huh, I wonder if that's true, if these are actual real plants. They probably are. Take that. Can we... Oh, we actually took the other one too. Well, let's go see what this photograph is for. Pretty young woman. I know who this is, but we don't yet. We will see. We'll look around Arthur's tent soon. Not Arthur's tent, Dutch's tent. He's got a lot of long books that have a lot of stuff to say. Charles' photograph. Looks like it's his family. He had an Indian mother and a black father, so this makes sense. Swanson's Bible. Wonder what could be in here. Some enlightening words of encouragement from the Lord himself. Yeah, that's encouraging if I've ever seen one. Nah, I'm just kidding. Do not do drugs, kids. They are bad.
Drugs are bad. You shouldn't do drugs. Okay, that about wraps up my introduction. Now, are there any...
But this is a very, very cliche type of thing for a drug addict to do. Love to see it. Just kidding. Do not do it. Huh. I never noticed this photograph before. Who's this supposed to be? I actually don't know. Susan Grimshaw. This is what Grimshaw used to look like? No, hold up. I need to look at that again. I have never seen this before. How have I missed this? Huh. No wonder her and Dutch were an item before. That's crazy. To this day, I still find things I have never seen before. We are not going to pick up this book just yet, because that will actually cause us to have a camp activity, and I want to hold off on getting too many. There's one in particular that I'm okay with getting, though, because we can get it almost instantly. Yeah, she's not there yet. Each camp activity, they actually have to be doing a specific thing in a specific spot for them to activate. So just be on the lookout when I find them, and you'll see kind of like what the stipulations are to get them. U.S. Army Discharge Certification. This is to certify that Marion Williamson is hereby dishonorably discharged from the military service of the United States by reason of attempt murder and deviancy. Dated this 27th day of December, 1892. Officer in charge, Colonel Harold T. Irving, 15th Infantry. I read a theory somewhere that deviancy was just an excuse to basically get rid of officers who were homosexual. So, does that mean that Bill could be homosexual? It's very possible. Letter to Lenny from Father. January 12, 1894. My dear Leonard, it is only 3 days since you and your mother stood on the platform so dutifully until my train was out of sight. And already I feel compelled to write. How handsome you looked then, you must learn chastity, son. And learn it... Yeah, chastity. There's chastity young, and learn it well. There are truths a man of my upbringing finds it easier to set down than to speak. Even to his son. I expect this is not easy for a boy to understand. In some ways, I hope you do not understand it. Here is one such truth. I know that I have sometimes been more tutor than father to you, but do not let my sermons on your future as a lawyer persuade you that I see you more as a pupil than son. When we meet again on Sunday next, I expect I will have stipend once more, but this brief distance gives me liberty to tell you that you have redeemed more than you know, or can ever know, or should ever be expected to bear. I expect the yard to be clear of snow when I return. I see that it bores you, but you must learn to accommodate yourself to all useful labor. However menial, and as always, read this letter aloud to your mother, and where I have written is not, do not say ain't. I am as ever, your loving father. Dude, his father sounds really cool. To be able to admit, like, yeah, I understand that I'm stern and all that, but that doesn't mean that I don't love you as a father. Like, it's got to be hard to admit that, especially at this time when, you know, to be caring in any way as a man is probably seen as, like, not masculine and frowned upon. And, you know, I feel like it's very important to, like, if you're going to be that kind of parent, stern, because you think it actually is effective as a parenting technique, to be clear with your children in saying that that doesn't mean you don't love them any less, can help them I think it helps those children understand your way of parenting more. Now, of course, sometimes you got to explain it to children in a different way, I find, because not all children can understand concepts as difficult, like, not as difficult, but as complicated as that. But, like, trying to communicate that is still of a hell of a lot better than just hoping one day it works out for them, The castle above the moor. All right, this is going to get a little bit funny. Mary Beth reads a lot of ridiculous books, very romantic ones, so this should be entertaining for us. The Castle Above the Moor, a romance of Old England. Mrs. Prescott Childers, I think that's what say. It's either Rescott or Prescott. By Miss Hescott Childers, so I was wrong completely. Page 354. Forevermore be doomed to a life of unimaginable suffering, Eleanor swooned. Yet surely the Duke was dead. She had seen him thrown off the galleon with her own two beautiful gray eyes. Could this dashing and handsome vagabond with a scar across his cheek really be him? It seemed impossible, yet her heart, she knew it was true. As true as their love that bound them together like swans that had been tied together. And yet now, instead of embracing her true love or walking with him across the windswept moors, she had sent him off to certain death. All because of dastardly trick played by his own evil cousin. This sudden flash of truth gave Lady Eleanor back her truest possession, her own strength as a lady. Slowly, she raised herself from the rich burgundy, velvet-covered chaise lounge, and cleared her perfectly shaped throat, while the wind blew her beautiful magenta gown and her even more beautiful flowing hair, appropriately. Sir Mulberry, a word with you before you go, she gasped, bravely but breathlessly. Sir Mulberry turned slowly. He stared blankly at the woman, the lady, the true lady, he thought, incorrectly. He was about to forever trick deceitfully into becoming his wife, and knew, instantly by the look of honesty, simplicity, and in truth in her beautiful gray eyes that all of his lies and deceits had not worked, as they never could but when faced by such a lady. Yes, my lady, he spluttered nervously. That man we just sent to the deepest dungeon in all Britain's great empire was not a barbaric pirate at all, was he? She commanded imperiously. She felt the strength of truth and goodness raised up her tall and proud like the prow of a great battleship, just as her enemy seemed to shrivel wretchedly like a sniveling big-nosed moneylender in front of her. I don't understand, he ejaculated. Sorry, I'm still like 5. Fervently, I have never been so insulted in all my life, he added idiotically. No, sir, that man we sent to almost certain death was not the Moorish scourge of Cornwall at all. That man was your own true cousin, the Duke of Hempworth, who you claimed was dead. The Duke, he spat, desperately realizing that all his lies and tricks had come to naught when faced with the righteousness of Lady Eleanor. You're correct. The Duke is not dead. I lied because I am a fool and believed the words of foreigners. Guards, arrest this man. He is a traitor to the king and a liar, of man of no honor. Yet Sir Mulberry, despite being a traitor and a liar, had just enough honor and English pluck to see his own vile shame for what it was, unbecoming to an English gentleman. Before he could be arrested disgracefully, with one last look at the beautiful Lady Eleanor, the lady who had tricked but who had not now defeated him. Sorry, I gotta swallow. I've been doing a lot of reading. He threw himself from the castle window to be dashed, violently, and on the jagged rocks and temptatious waves crashing tempestuously below, Lady Eleanor sighed sadly. It is very sad. He was once a good and brave man, but then greed and lies overtook him, she lamented lamentedly. Dude, this is cracking me up. It's like my father always said, when an Englishman realizes he has acted with all the lack of pluck and honesty one expects of a foreigner, then dashing yourself upon rocks and tempestuous waves is the only course of action, said her trusty and loyal maidservant Bess comfortably. We must hurry, for the ship is carrying the real Duke to a certain death, said Lady Eleanor suddenly and unrelatedly, and ran breathlessly through the castle and down the highest spiral staircase in all of England. And having crossed the drawbridge, she leapt urgently upon her white charger, Bessie. Bessie whinnied bravely and then raced bravely across the windswept moors furiously. She hoped earnestly that she could save the life of one man that she loved and who loved her too. She would not be too late, she told herself and Bessie pointlessly. Bessie whinnied again, still very bravely. Man, the end of this book sounds like me trying to fill out words in an essay, dude. Just put Lee at the end of everything, that will get it.
You okay there, Tilly?
I'm okay. Warm, at least. Could do with getting out of here for a bit.
I'm sure.
All right, what's next? Is there anything else around there? Check real quick. I don't see any other books.
Arthur?
Karen? We'll have to check around again because I think usually there's some
feeling
books.
old today.
You're not old.
I'll never understand you, Arthur Morgan. One minute you're sweet as pie, the next you're as sour as vinegar.
Well, I should get back to it.
Okay.
Mary Beth's notebook. I never knew this was here. Mary Beth's Notebook, The American Wilderness, a romance by Mary Elizabeth Non-Duplom. They call it the Wild West for a reason. It was a land that was pulled all those towards it who wanted adventure, and all those who were running from elsewhere. It was a land of gunslingers and outlaws and beautiful women and wild animals. The question is, which one of these was the beautiful Marcel, who was a French princess, on the run from a terrible duke who lived in France, but was chasing her because she would not be his bride. She also realized at the same time that was total tripe and she should go hang herself for having ideas way above her station. So she's reading, she's writing a little bit from what she knows because who else has said that to her? Susan Grimshaw. And there's nothing on this page. Maybe more will be added as we play the game. I have never found this thing before. Dude, I'm telling you, this game just keeps giving. I know I'm losing my mind over small details, but like details matter. Details build the world. If you have a fun game and everything else is fun about it, then having small details like that do nothing but make the game better. I cannot express that enough.
Caught a couple of deer, Dutch. Me and Charles.
Good work, Arthur. But be ready. We're gonna head out soon and see if we can find that O'Driscoll camp.
Okay.
Alright, we are back. Sorry, I had to do a little cut there. But, yeah, that little dialogue the Dutch just gave us. That's from Chapter 1, dude. See, that's the only mess-ups I'm seeing right now game-wise. But, regardless of that, you know, it's kind of cool that we still get to hear some of the dialogue that we missed out on, just because we did the missions in a different order. Okay, we got a few more things to read in Dutch's tent, and I think we have read everything in camp, except for a few things I might have missed. So let's go ahead and start reading, because he has some of the more longer ones. Grimshaw might come up to us and start being like, "You're in camp too much, yada yada." The American Inferno, Evelyn Miller. I know this person's not a real author, but I think he's based off someone real. I highly suggest checking out how historically accurate Red Dead Redemption 2 is, because those videos are amazing. And dude, the amount of detail in this game is just amazing, especially with the historical accuracy, like the comparisons, is great. Regardless, let's give this a read. The American Inferno by Evelyn Miller. Chapter 2. A few thoughts upon New York. In the end, what has a man but his thoughts? I would postulate further, but what is a man to stand for but his thoughts? His actions, perhaps? I know precious little of actions. Lions, donkeys, hyenas, they all act. So is that what we are? No. We are more and less than beasts. We are thoughts. We are actions and the reflections upon those actions. Yet we are also not merely reflections. We are not mirrors. That is the preserve spirit of the gods. We are actions and the thoughts upon actions, neither one nor other. We are free neither from action nor from thought. Our humanity can only be understood if we embrace both the animal and the god within us. As humans, we must nourish both. Yet America is a land of action, a place fixated not on ideas, not on the redemptive power of thought, but on the obliteration of the intellect. It is a place wherein mankind is attempted to deny half of its being, and in pursuing freedom as an attempted to split itself. Much as a monk gives up the pleasures of the body, so the American is encouraged to give up the pleasures of the mind. He is led by desire into a pig pen, awaiting his own slaughter. With this in mind, I decided that my study could be concluded by traveling around this country and seeing how we, as Americans, could best awaken both the god and the animal within. I wandered into the Inferno, the grand human inferno, the fiery and mediocre hell that is Manhattan, a world built by men for the torture of their fellows. A place that shows, beyond all reasonable doubt, that when left to his own devices, when removing God entirely from his creation, man would induce not heaven but hell, the gilded inferno, the marble purgatory, this American churning sea of desire, the place where we see man for what he truly is, and recoil in horror. He is the destroyer of all, of nature, of course, of his brothers, seemingly a sport, and finally of himself. Men are fixated on greed, on desire, and on the acquisition not of experiences or pleasures, but the ability to acquire. People are fixated on wealth. Man is reduced for the desire for desire. The desire for desire. Wanting is all that matters. Not loving, not being, not having, but wanting. We are killers for desire. Even sport would be preferable. This is the grand sickness, the eternal sickness of this land. It is man unleashed. Man unleashed and turned into he knows not what. For inside he has nothing, so all that moves him, all that he understands is the external, the great churning sea of desire. It is not freedom. It is an impression of freedom for the people who have not the capacity to see further. And why can they not see further? Because they have not been taught to see. If you wish for men to truly be free, is this nation's promise and not merely a sales pitch for snake oil. Then we must first teach ourselves and then our fellows to see glory. The glory in death, yes, of course, in life, but also in death. I realize that idea is abhorrent. I realize it is vulgar and distasteful. I realize it is perverse, but it is also the truth. As I traveled throughout Manhattan, from the migrant slums of the Lower East Side to the marble cloud mansions by the Central Park, I came to appreciate a hideous truth. The true system that allows poverty and degradation such as I saw is wrong, and the impacts of the degradation on humanity are profound. But far worse is the impact of wealth upon those who possess it and are possessed by it. To be removed from humanity is to live as a prisoner in a marble goal. To be isolated from humanity in such a manner is so profoundly anti-American as to make the whole conception of this nation an absurdity even worse than our treatment of the, I'm not going to say that, of the N-word. Manhattan at once depraves the poor and dehumanizes the rich. Its purpose is unhappiness, the nurturing and blooming of suffering. And this, we are informed, is the high point of American society. Nonsense. This is nonsense. American nonsense, yes, but nonsensical deceptions nonetheless. The real America can only be found not in desires, but in the purity of its landscape. Reading this makes you really think, for sure. And it really helps you understand who Dutch is as a person. He makes a lot of good points in there, and I think we get to meet Evelyn Miller later in the game. Yes, we do, absolutely. I should try hiding that. I played the game. Most of you probably played the game at this point. And getting to meet him, you kind of see what he's talking about. But it does raise a good thought about America as a whole. I think he's also based on a real person, so I would look into that. Molly's poem, Uberbreach. I was a girl until your call commanded me to the sea. I've nothing left. I get.
You and me is one thing, but would you please try to make an effort with the boy?
If it'll shut you up, I'll try. But fathering ain't nothing I know about.
Here's a hint. Act like you ain't a selfish, bloodthirsty moron.
You mean lie?
Shut up.
Sorry to interrupt the poem. I was curious.
All right?
Uh-huh.
You'll be back on your feet in no time.
I sure hope so.
Always good to see you.
Don't, Arthur.
Whoa, what's whoa?
Sometimes I think about the old days. Seems a lifetime ago.
I don't want to think about the old days.
Anyway, all behind us now.
Whatever, goodbye.
Man, Abigail's in a bad mood. I mean, I would be too. That she's trying to, like, make a connection with John, and he's saying stuff like that.
You stalking me too, Arthur.
You getting crazy, Dutch?
Well, I've always been crazy, Arthur. You know that. You are starting to unnerve me, friend. I don't think you want me any more unnerved than I already am.
I think I caught you at a bad time.
Just don't play games, Arthur.
I ain't. Anyway, I won't disturb you.
Okay, Arthur.
Man, everybody's in some sort of mood right now. Gosh. Oh, we actually have an opportunity to start a companion activity. We'll get to reading the poem in just a second.
Mary Beth,
Hey, Arthur.
how's it riding?
Not very good. I hear the most wonderful words in my head, and then I write absolute poppycock. But I love it.
Yeah, me too. My journal. I was reading some the other day. I write like a fool.
One day I'd love a beautiful fountain pen and a great desk in a quiet room and to write the most beautiful stories.
Well, I can't do much about the stories or the quiet room, but maybe I'll find you a pen.
Thank you.
Yes, if you see Mary Beth writing in her journal like this, you can actually start her quest. And it's good to start hers early because her item is close by. And especially for how I plan to do things, it's one of the few items we'll come across before the others. So it's good to get hers kind of done and out of the way before picking up the other companion quest.
Mr. Morgan.
What, Susan?
Can I ask you a favor, if it's convenient, I mean?
Sure.
If you're out on your adventures and you see any herbs for seasoning, would you mind grabbing them for me?
Seasoning?
Yes. Don't tell Mr. Pearson.
Okay. I'll see what I can do.
Huh. Usually I don't get that one for a while. It usually takes a couple missions for her to come up and ask for those. But that one's actually fairly easy. We can get those. Shit. Well, I don't think I get that ingredient for what. What's the horse doing in camp? It is crazy here. I'm getting missions left and right. There's horses walking through camps. What's going on? I'm just trying to read a damn poem.
Arthur, we are gonna need to get some food or money soon enough or we are gonna have a revolution on our hands.
Well, perhaps people should work harder. Worry less about revolution.
Very amusing.
Oh, man, maybe I need to finish up reading all these soon so I can get out of camp and start helping. But honestly, they're going to do this regardless of what you can do. So, don't take it to heart. But yeah, usually she asks for that after a few companion quests, so it's kind of cool to get that early, because I think we gotta get it done early, too.
Real frightened.
Of what?
Pinkertons, bounty hunters. It all feels... We've been in bad situations before, but I feel like my whole life's been one long bad situation. I'm a mother.
I know, my dear.
What are we gonna do? Is Dutch... I mean, he's always found a way, but lately
I know, dear. Seems we don't have a choice but to ride this train to the end of the line. If I were you, think of the boy and make plans.
I just wish John was... I care about him. Damn fool that he is.
I know, dear. Stay calm. Jack needs you calm.
It's gonna be all right.
You really think so?
Things will turn around. They always do. Okay, I'll catch you later then.
Yeah, all right.
Man, everything just wants to get in the way of us reading, doesn't it?
You ain't giving up on us, are you?
No, of course not. But this is no situation for Abigail and the boy.
Well, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.